Today I'm going to show you how to achieve this paint scheme for Ack Ack, the fearsome raider leader, using only a handful of paints right after this. Hey everyone, Sam here from the Tabletop Hub, and today we're painting up another miniature from Modiphius's Fallout Wasteland Warfare. But before we do, I just want to say that today's video is made possible by my patrons and supporters over at tabletop-hub.co.uk. If you like the content I make here in the channel and would like to support future content and get some nice perks in the process, you can check out the link in the video description. With that said though, I base coated Ack Ack with matte black and then began by painting her shirt with Army Painter's Army Green. I equally painted the recessed sections of the ammo drum on the minigun with this colour too, as I noticed some of the artwork and screenshots that it had more of a green tint to it. Now it's completely optional, but I decided that since it wasn't really going to be very noticeable anyway, I might as well take a risk and have a stab at it. Next, I took Army Painter's deep blue and painted the jeans or trousers that Ack Ack is wearing. Now if you're painting with Army Painter's paint range, your deep blue may be quite watery like mine, even if you've given it a good shake. Don't worry about this, and don't try to load up your brush in order to get more coverage more quickly. Just apply a smooth, thin layer and keep reapplying until you've got an even coat over the trousers. Next, I took Army Painter's leather brown and painted Ack Ack's coat. Now, we will be coming back to this colour later to paint other areas, so just keep it handy on your tabletop. For Ack Ack's outer shirt, which are the sleeves that cover her arms, I painted this with Army Painter's uniform grey. For Ack Ack's gloves, boots, and the belt around her waist, I used Army Painter's dark stone. Now this seems like an odd choice on paper, but I was using the box art model or promo model paintwork as reference for this, and it seemed to be a close enough match. Plus I think painting these with another brown tone would just add way too much brown to the model and make it hard to differentiate between the colours. For the minigun, I applied Army Painter's Dungeon Grey to the entire weapon, including the bullets, the barrel, the whole thing. And now onto the final little details. I took some of Army Painter's Oak Brown and painted the dirt on the base, then took Leather Brown and painted the planks on the base, the straps on Ack Ack's arms, carefully painted the straps around the gloves, and also painted the straps and fringe on her boots, all with that leather brown. Now here's a little spin around so you can see exactly which areas I hit with that colour. Next, I took some Army Painter's Uniform Grey and applied this to the bricks that we see in the base as well. And finally, before we get into weathering, we have the face. Now for Ack Ack's hair, I used Army Painter's Desert Yellow and again had to apply a couple of layers here in order to get an even finish. And for the face, I used Citadel's Flayed One Flesh. Ack Ack's skin seems quite pale, so I wanted to go a shade lighter than I usually would for a skin base coat. And now for the trickiest part of painting this model. Ack Ack has some red face paint or some red markings on her face, both in the game and on the paintwork that's shown on the box, and I thought for some time on how to easily replicate this on the model without completely messing everything up, so here's what I came up with. I took Army Painter's Vampire Red and added a little bit of it onto my wet palette. I then took my stippling brush and ran the edge of it through the paint, as that's where I wanted the majority of the paint to rest on my brush. Then I took my cloth or the rag I used to clean off my brushes and dried off any excess water or liquid that was on the brush, basically the exact same thing I would do if I was about to dry brush. With that done, I then just dabbed the edge of the stippling brush onto Ack Ack's face. Now it won't be very noticeable at first, but as you keep dabbing and keep reapplying the colour, it will begin to build up and become more noticeable. Now it's really important that you keep dabbing on the exact same piece or the exact same line on her face, otherwise it's just going to be really weird looking and her entire face will be covered in this red, but equally it's really important that you don't have too much paint on your brush. You can see with my brush I've taken off the majority of the paint, and then on subsequent times where I applied it I allowed more paint to be on the brush as I gained more confidence with it and as that line and that colour started to become more defined. Just take your time with this, don't rush it, as you apply more layers it will really start to come together. For weathering, I applied a coating of AK Interactive Streaking Grime, but unfortunately I had a mishap during the airbrushing and applied way too much. It was just a mess. I didn't even want to show you guys this. It was just horrible. Alternatively, you could just apply a layer of Strong Tone from Army Painter or some Ack Ack's Earthshade from Citadel, and you get very similar results for weathering, but at the minute I'm just on a real enamel high, basically, and I'm using it for basically everything. But once I'd applied the streaking grime, I took my brush with some white spirits and removed the excess enamel wash. Now here's a quick spin around of what the model looked like after that stage, and as you can see, it really dirties up the model and adds a really grimy and grimdark look to them. It's just a little heavy this time due to my airbrush mishap. So in order to get some of that clarity back, what I did was some edge highlighting on the coat with some leather brown and added some more army green to the shirt just to make those areas pop a little bit more. The final thing I did was dry brush the minigun with some of Army Painter's gunmetal just to add that metallic sheen to the weapon. And folks, that is it. That's how I achieved this look for Ack Ack from Fallout Wasteland Warfare. Now if you find this video helpful, then feel free to subscribe for future painting guides, but until next time, have a great week, and speak to you all soon.